Tennessee This Week from WATE's 6 on Your Side starts now.
Hello and welcome to Tennessee This Week. I'm Bo Williams. This week, the debate over what comes next for the Emerald Youth Foundation continues as the organization works to find a property for a new youth facility in East Knoxville. On Thursday, 6 News learned that the Emerald Youth Foundation could be eyeing a property where some East Knoxville businesses were recently given a notice to vacate. We're talking about a shopping center in the 2400 block of Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue, and records show the Industrial Development Board of the City of Knoxville sold the property for $1 last month. Now, it's no secret that the Emerald Youth Foundation has been looking to build a new sports complex in East Knoxville. This was a topic of debate last year, as a lot of you know, when the community learned of plans to build a facility in Chilhowie Park. But ultimately, that plan stalled. This week, Emerald Youth told us it was continuing to look for an alternative location for a sports complex which would serve children and families in East Knoxville. As for any specifics, Emerald Youth simply said different locations are being explored, including the 5 Points area. So let's bring in our panel of pundits to discuss all of this. Joining us today, as always, Courtney Piper, Craig Griffith, Michael Covington. Great to see all of you. Happy New Year, by the way, to each of you.
Happy New Year to our viewers.
Yeah, definitely. Michael, I want to start with you on the end. When you heard about all of this week, what were your thoughts as far as this development, the location, just kind of what popped into your head at that moment?
My first thought was that East Knoxville is currently and has been a federally recognized food desert for the last decade. How this project will minimize or mitigate that, I have no idea. The second thing that came to mind immediately was the River Breeze complex out off Asheville Highway. 126 acres of ball fields, 4 baseball fields, 6 soccer fields, an RV park with pads. 200 RVs will be able to park here. They've already gotten a lot of the approvals on the easements that they will need. So my question then becomes, why does East Knoxville desperately need this Emerald Youth Sports Complex in that small little area of a community that won't really be prepared for that amount of traffic? So my concern is, are we getting enough information about the need for this in the community? And it will be such a small footprint. Just over 6 acres is not really a lot of land for what they're proposing. So what's being shaved? What's being cut? What is the initiative? Are we suddenly going to have a lot of kids gravitating to soccer that aren't playing soccer now? I attended the Austin East homecoming. There were thousands of people there for a football game, not soccer. So I'm still not understanding what the need for this facility is.
And I do want to point out real quick, as far as history here, you mentioned the food desert. There was a supermarket there at one point. That was kind of the original point of that whole
supermarket that never had a chance to succeed because they were mandated to buy their supplies or their food from out of state. It never could survive. It was so expensive, it was going out of business within 6 months, and all of a sudden, the idea of that area being developed died with that supermarket.
Yeah. Courtney, what do you think? Any pros, cons when you look at this, the area, this development?
I drive by this area a lot. I live in Holston Hills, and Emerald Youth Foundation can buy whatever property it would like to buy to build whatever they think that there is a need for. Michael, you must not really like Emerald Youth Foundation.
Has nothing to do with whether I like them or not.
You don't think that they've established there's a need?
What good is a complex in a food desert that's going to invite people from other states into that area?
You should ask them these questions.
No, I should not be asking them those questions. That information should have already been made available. It sounds a lot like, well, when they tried this with the city, you saw how big a failure that was.
But this is a different ball game.
The ball game is the same, they've just changed locations. All they've done is change locations.
Do you want them to be in the community, or do you not want them to be in the community?
Because
it seems like every property they select in East Knoxville you have a problem with. So do you have a problem with Emerald Youth, or do you have a problem with the locations?
I had a problem with the Chilhowie location because it was a bad deal. It was a bad deal on its face. It's still a bad deal. the deal that they're getting now, and when people find out that that property was conveyed by that development board for $1 and suddenly is back on the market and WJBE is packing up and moving to another location, residents are not going to be happy with the outcome. And whatever it is that Emerald puts there, good luck to them. Good luck to them. And I'm not certain that the African American Equity Restoration Task Force shouldn't take a look at this to see if there are not potentially some inequities similar to the ones caused by urban renewal that they need to address before this moves forward. Emerald can build and buy whatever they want. I'm not questioning that. I'm not challenging their mission. What I'm saying is some of what they do is a wee bit suspect. And there's not always a lot of explanation until after the fact when you have to do a little digging. So no, it's not incumbent upon me to ask them what they're doing. They're coming into an established community where there are homeowners that have lives, they pay taxes, they have the right to quiet enjoyment. And if you're gonna have people coming into Knoxville, pouring into East Knoxville does not have the resources to accommodate the traffic that will come as a result of the development.
Craig, Courtney, do you have anything else you wanted to add there before I go to Craig? Or?
Well, also to say that this that 5 Point complex is very close to housing development. Mm-hmm. So when you think about the primary audience being families and children, they are within walking distance of that complex. And I would also assume that because that area for what it is being used now, if it were be turned into some sort of sports complex, there might need to be some sort of rezoning process. So I think there will be lots of additional steps for the community to weigh in, but Emerald Youth clearly has a very genuine mission to serve our community, and I don't think that we should put up obstacles. We should be collaborating and partnering and talking to them directly.
All right, so Craig, you've heard a couple of sides here, the discussion between Courtney and Michael. What are your thoughts?
Well, we can go back in time to where at the ribbon cutting at the 5 Points grocery store, which I coordinated when I worked for the city, it was looked upon as being what would be a key to the development of that area. And the grocery store, for whatever reason, really didn't have to do a whole lot with out-of-town vendors. It just didn't generate the business it needed. It failed, and it's been lingering ever since. So I think that a useful redevelopment of that area is important. And I will say that transparency, I think, is the key here. I think we need to get more information out to the public on exactly what Emerald Youth is planning for this complex, if it's located there, if it's located at the former safety center site there next to behind the convention centers. So there needs to be more. We need to start at ground zero on this. Go out and ask the community, what is it that we need? And then Emerald Youth or any other organization can tailor their message, their plans to what the community wants in terms of developing youth services. It's not my understanding this is going to be a sports complex for out-of-town tournaments and things like this. That's not the use of in Lonsdale. The Emerald Youth has a community support center in Lonsdale as well. It's more for after school. There's also a clinic there in conjunction with the University of Tennessee Hospital. There are things that the community needs that Lonsdale facility is providing. But based on the Chilhowie Park experience, I think transparency, engaging stakeholders in the community on the front end is very important now if we want to come up with a solution that's a win-win for Emerald Youth, for the community, and for the city as a whole.
Yeah. Craig mentioned transparency there. I mean, does that kind of go back to what exactly is the spot going to be used for? Is it out-of-town tournaments, in-town tournaments, after school? And at the same token, obviously, Michael, I know you've brought up things as far as infrastructure and things like that to be able to handle whatever's going to be happening there. There's still a lot of questions to be asked.
Whether it's fair or not, or justified or not, because of what happened at Chilhowie, there is a giant spotlight on Emerald Youth Foundation and what they are going to do next. So that is the reality of their situation, and it would behoove them to increase their transparency or be maybe a little less conservative with their plans and their outreach approach.
Yeah. Michael, you kind of go along. I mean, we just need to know more information moving forward here, or?
Certainly more information is needed, and transparency is a before the fact consideration, not an after the fact. Don't do and explain to me after the fact what you did and why. This is a situation where Emerald's needs and wants and purpose is coming before a resolution as to what might happen for the citizens who are interested in Chilhowie Park. Still no real talk about Chilhowie Park. Emerald may have that facility built and up and running, and Chilhowie may still be sitting there dark and locked.
Let me ask you this real quick. Oh, go ahead. Did you want to say something, Craig?
Well, yeah, and that the Chilhowie Park's owned by the city, so that property needs to go under a process run by the city. Obviously, again, more transparent than the original Emerald Youth Plan for the area, engaging stakeholders there and seeing what's best for the community on that part of land as well. So, Emerald Youth only has the best interests of the community at heart. And I think that everyone needs to understand that's where they're coming from. They're not coming there to make money. They're not coming there to control the property. They have the best interests of the community, and I think it's not that we need to trust them. It's just that everyone needs to come together at the table and talk about what we want.
Hey, real quick, I did want to ask, and you kind of alluded to the area over by the auditorium. If not at Chilhowie, if not at 5 Points, any idea where do you put something like this?
Well, I mean, we're making this assumption that because that particular Chilhowie deal failed, that we have to try to shoehorn it in somewhere in Knoxville, and I think that's a false premise.
Okay.
You know, what happens at Chilhowie will be different from what happens anywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and again, that gets my go ask the community what they want. Develop your programming then and see where that fits.
Okay.
And I don't. I think that plan is dead at Chilhowie because it's been contaminated by the first experience. There's a lack of trust amongst all sides on that. But if you go back to ground zero, as I said, and develop your programming, and then, this is what we need, this is how much land we need, and then look around and see if there's an area that the community wants you to be involved in.
All right. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll have more of Tennessee This Week in just a moment. All right, welcome back to Tennessee This Week. State Comptroller has released new report on school vouchers. I'm going to bring our panel of pundits back in now to talk about the latest. So, Craig, I'm going to start with you and what stood out the most. I know you reached out to us about this, too, after you saw that report.
Yes. Well, first of all, we need to define what we're talking about here. These are the vouchers, the original voucher program that went only to residents of Shelby, Davidson, and was expanded to Hamilton County. And it developed vouchers that were good for, now they're about $9,400 each. So they're more than the secondary voucher program that was developed by the Lee administration. So the report is very interesting. It showed continued growth in this program, but still doesn't get nearly to the number of people that are eligible. It's about 3,800 people that take advantage of these vouchers in those counties, whereas there's about 5,000 people eligible. So it's not reaching everyone it needs to. The costs are going up on it. And in contrast to the Governor Lee's most recent voucher program, the Educational Funds Program, there's testing requirements for this program. And the testing requirements for these vouchers, the ESA in those specific counties, is showing that there's not much improvement in academic performance between the people that use the voucher and their peers in public schools. So it's showing that the vouchers are not significantly improving the metrics that we have. The parents are very satisfied with it, however, and that continues to grow. But the testing is showing that vouchers in themselves are not really making much difference in the academic performance.
Yeah, and going back to that, the TCAP scores, was something that came out there for the students. Using school vouchers did go up a bit over time, but overall testing scores remain below the local public school peers, right, statewide. So, Courtney, when you see that and kind of see where we are with the voucher situation, what were some of your first impressions here?
There's still no data to prove that vouchers improve academic outcomes for students. They do not. There is this false premise that just because you pay for something, there's more value to it, you're going to get more out of it. And what the Comptroller's report showed is that is not true. That is not true. Public schools are still exceptional institutions for our students to learn. We know what they need to succeed, and our priority should be fully funding public education instead of figuring out ways to gut it or introduce competition into the system. If there are families that decide on their own that a private school is better for me and my family, that's great. They should bear the responsibility for paying for that, not taxpayers.
Yeah. Michael, kind of going off that, are there benefits or not?
I spoke with the governor about a year ago to let him know I'm all in with you on vouchers. The governor did not want to have a lot of discussion about it. It may have been where we were, it may have been who we were around, but he let me know very subtly, his body language said, let's don't talk about this right now. I think that for parents who have problems with the public schools, if parents were not so actively suing the public schools at every turn, there would not be such an impetus for parents to try to get their children out of public schools.
Suing for what?
Whatever.
About what?
Gum chewing.
That's not a thing.
It is a thing.
That was a disability case. That was not just gum
We're
chewing.
paying for students who have all kinds of issues that the public schools are constitutionally required to try to accommodate.
And
I
private
would've-
schools are not.
and-
So you
and they are
wouldn't even
not.
you don't have the same rights when you go to a private school.
And you're not seeking additional rights. You're just seeking to be left
No.
alone.
You, when you go to a private school, you give up some of your federally guaranteed rights,
You do.
educational rights.
Sure you do.
And
Yes.
in a public school system, you still have those rights. And when people engage in that advocacy, it doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't mean that public school is failing. It means you are working the system and advocating for your rights. That would not be available to you in a private school situation. You wouldn't even have the ability to advocate for them.
I'm talking about parents who find an opportunity to sue.
For
and
what,
they,
Michael? Give me an example.
Whatever they're suing for. You and I
You're
both know-
making this up. You
I'm
are
not
making. If
making
you
this up.
cannot give me an example, you are
Just
making
because
this
I
up.
don't give you a list of examples does not mean it's not happening.
Yes, it does.
And that's the
Yes,
reason
it does.
vouchers exist, because parents are suing public schools to the point
No.
where parents want their kids out of that nonsense.
What data do you have? Like,
I don't need any data.
Yes, you
all
do.
I need is
You
a
can't just make
all
a
I need is
claim
a
and just be like, well, just
all
because I
need is
said
a
it, it's
subscription
true.
to the Sentinel, and I can see where every relevant lawsuit has
Then
happened.
name one.
And the last person that sued was because his child was autistic, and he wasn't being given a voucher because they didn't fit the qualifications. And he's suing because his child was not getting the rights he felt like his child should get.
I don't
felt
think
like
you're accurately describing. That lawsuit was challenging the notion that vouchers should exist because they take away money from the public school system, therefore taking away resources from kids with disabilities. That's what that news
Parents
article
are
was
trying
about.
to
You
get their-
completely
Parents
misled our
are
viewers on
trying
that.
to get their children out of public schools because they feel like the public schools are under the yoke of lawsuits.
That is not true.
And sure it is. Sure it is. There's a child that had a disability about chewing, and you couldn't chew near that child, and Knox County is paying for that child to be educated somewhere else.
I don't know if that's
Parents
true
have
because
to
I think
stop
Knox
suing
County actually
every
won
chance
that
they get.
lawsuit.
They have to stop suing every chance
Absolutely
they get.
not. It is their
Well,
constitutional
that's
right.
why people are leaving public schools as
That's
quickly as
not.
they can,
Let me-
and the vouchers are there for that purpose.
Let me ask you real quick, Michael. You said way back when, you said to the governor, I'm all in, I believe in this.
A year ago.
A year ago. Has that changed at all, though? Are you still 100% all in, or or have you seen now, we're a year into this, have you seen where maybe there's some?
I'm still all in with the reasoning that people need that option, that cushion. The cost in a challenging budget year, I am concerned about. I am concerned about the escalating costs and there being no end to that cost escalation. So there was never an understanding about how much more it would cost, but it was always known that it cost more.
All right, that's it. We need to take another break. We'll be right back with more Tennessee This Week. All right, welcome back to Tennessee This Week. We want to continue to revisit what we were just talking about before we headed off of the break, talking about school vouchers. Craig, I know you wanted to chime in for a moment, so I want to, again, give you a chance to kind of run through what your thoughts are.
Well, I don't think in any regard that the vouchers are a response to lawsuits against the school system. Most of these lawsuits are for decisions that the local educational authority has made in granting or not granting services to individual students under the various federal laws. And I don't think that that's causing a ripple effect among parents to, I don't want my child in public schools because somebody's going to be sued. And that's why, the county and the city, everybody have law department staffs on record. They live to take care of these lawsuits. So I think that the voucher issue there doesn't have to do with lawsuits. It has to do with the way education is going these days in terms of do we want more science and education? Do we want more Christian values in your schools? That's why many of the vouchers we saw went to Christian schools or religious schools or even Muslim schools in some places. So, vouchers are around, and as Michael says, they need to take a hard look this year at expanding the voucher program because of the money.
I tell you what, we're going to move on to another topic here for a second. On Monday, a Knoxville area attorney was formally sworn in as director of Tennessee Valley Authority's Board of Directors. We're talking about Jeff Haygood. So I want to ask all of you as well your thoughts on this latest development as far as the leadership, moving forward now with TVA. Courtney, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to let you start things off.
This is great. TVA now has a quorum. It can make business decisions, and TVA has shouldered this responsibility to meet the president's vision of American energy dominance. So now they have a quorum, they can conduct business. It is fantastic that a prominent Knoxville business person will have a role in the TVA board. I welcome that. In the energy industry circles that I run into, I have not seen Jeff Haygood, so I don't know how passionate he is about this subject matter, but it's real easy to get passionate about this and increase your knowledge of the subject matter just by being in this area. So if Jeff Haygood is watching, like all East Tennesseans do on Sunday morning, and he wants to learn more about this industry and the opportunities it gives us as a community, I welcome him to reach out to me, and I can give him a list of organizations he should visit.
All right. Michael, your thoughts here after the appointment, and as far as Haygood himself, I don't know if you feel he's the right person for the job.
I think if he's made it all the way through the process, he is right for the job.
Okay.
The question, and Courtney alluded to this, if he's going to be responsive to the citizens, is he going to be concerned about what TVA does that impacts KUB and makes a utility bill be $200 more from month to month? The November utility bill was surpassed by $200 in December. And the question then becomes, why so much? Why so much of an increase without explanation? If he is going to be the type of board member that would share information with the community about what TVA is doing, if that is a direction that TVA takes, I think citizens will be pleased with that.
Yeah. Craig, as far as direction from here, I mean, where do we need to go?
Everyone is talking about the great increase in electrical demand that we're going to have mainly from data centers around the country. So I think that's great, that's development, but I think that every member of the board of TVA needs to consider what the individual homeowner, when they open up their utility bill, sees in that bill. They need to make sure that the development for large companies is not done at the burden of the local ratepayer. So I think it's very important that they shoulder that burden. TVA's rates have gone up 5% in 23, 5% in 24, have almost gone up 10% in the last 2 years for really not a whole lot of obvious reasons. So I think, as Michael says, that needs to be explained in greater detail as to why our rates are going up. Because TVA supplies the power, it goes to KUB. KUB has its own challenges to provide power to all the homes in our community. So again, look out for the little guy.
All right, and on that note, we're going to wrap things up. So happy you joined us again. Happy New Year to you, and we look forward to a full year of Tennessee This Week, so we'll see you again next week.
The views of guests on Tennessee This Week are their own and do not represent the views of WATE 6 on your side or Nexstar Broadcasting.